Well, welcome back. I haven't done a video for quite a while, but it's spring and more things to do in the garden. The wishing well needs to be cleaned out. There's been no water in there for a while. I've removed the covers about a week and a half ago and started feeding the fish, and they're eating quite well. And the pond is looking absolutely crystal clear, as you can see. So happy days, spring, and back to the fish. So in the upcoming weeks we'll be doing quite a few things. I'll be cleaning the nitrate filter there by the waterfall. I'll most certainly be doing a little bit of gardening around the pond itself. I've started a little bit of a tidy up with the leaves that are gathered. But at the back there, as you can see, I've got a major project on the go. Got lots of ideas for it, lots. And of course the planting around the pond. Let's see what we can do this year. But first, I need to do the filters. So I'll just run you through that. It's Wrighty's system, or based on it anyway. Pipe work is slightly different, but it's still Wrighty's system. And I'll run you through that, exactly how I clean the filter system. The first thing you have to do is turn the water on. This is just straight main supply. There we go. And this feeds the pond as I take round about 80 gallon out, just to clean the filters and have a little bit of a weekly water change. One thing you will notice, the garage has turned into a tip. 6 months worth of clutter. That's going to be cleaned out in the next week or two. But to the filters, let's do it. So the first thing I do is to turn the water supply on to the pond. That goes through a dechlorinator, an EA dechlorinator. It should last about 34,000 gallons. I last changed it 2 years ago. And what I do, I use a chlorine tab to see if it's actually working. I'll be doing that later today, but I'm just going to trust that today it should still be working. It's only 80 gallons we change it, so if it is a touch of chlorine in it, I don't think it will affect the fish too much in there. So, let's turn the water on. There we go. And that is now feeding directly to the pond. There you are, you see that little green hose sticking into the pond there, and hopefully the dechlorinated water will be topping the pond up, because just in a minute I'm going to start draining those filters, and obviously it's going to remove around about 80 gallons of water from the pond at the same time. So the first filter I'm going to clean out is the vortex. That's the first of 4 filters. That's the vortex. That's the first fill bed, or the second filter in line, the first fill bed. The third filter in line and the second spill bed. They just contain spill K1. And then the fourth filter in line is the moving bed. And that's where the K1 gets moved. That's a bacteria filter at the end of the way. The other two in reality are just mechanical filters, but they do also have a slight bacterial filter capability. Right, so over to the vortex, and this is what I do. Okay, so I added a couple little modifications to Wrighty's vortex. one thing I do, I put 2 foam filters just below the top of the outlet. That helps to catch any particles that the vortex doesn't catch. As you can see, 1 or 2 leaves have gone in through the wind, they're blown into the pond, and the skim is taken out. And if you just look down there, I've got a 400 micron filter sock into the inlet of the actual vortex. Now the vortex still moves, you can see it's slowly rotating, and the heavier particles, as you can see, it does a fantastic job still. And any particles that to the 400 microns still fall to the bottom. I'm hoping you can still see that. Can you see right at the bottom? It's caught such a lot, and that's just over the last 7 days. Okay. But what I was finding is larger particles, such as little twigs and leaves, were floating all over the shop in a heavy wind. So I put that on, and I fitted that about a month ago, and it does an absolutely fabulous job. So the first thing I'm going to do is take that off. Now I take it off without turning the pump off, because what happens is, if I turn the pump off, the water flow reverses back down that pipe, and it'll take the sock with it. So it sucks it into the tube. It won't suck it completely in because it's too large, the neck of the filter is too large, but it will suck it down into it and stop the water flowing back. And it's a pain in the neck to try and get it off. So I take that off with the pump still running. So I can't show you exactly how I do it, because I'm holding this camera just at the minute and the torch. So I'll stop it and I'll show you the filter once I've taken it off. Okay, there you are, and that's just a floating thermometer, water thermometer. Okay, the water temperature's dropped overnight to 7.2. Now it's been consistently around about 8 to 8.5 degrees other than last night, so it must have been quite cold last night. That's the only thing I can think of. So there's the filter. As you can see, it's captured quite a bit. Some of the smaller particles, I have to say, also reverse and come out of here, backwards into the vortex. And at first I thought, oh, that's going to stop the vortex from working, but actually, because it slows those particles down to such an extent, most of them, rather than floating, sink to the bottom. And in a minute I'll show you exactly how many particles the vortex actually captures. As you can see, the sock has captured quite a bit. Okay. Okay, as you can see, I've disturbed quite a bit of debris, taking the sock off. So I need to turn the pump off pretty quick now before that debris goes into those slots and affects the rest of the filter. So I need to stop it now. So while I'm waiting for that vortex just to slowly filter back through the pipe, the inlet pipe, today I'm going to be cleaning this filter here. This is the second still dead, and hopefully now that water level should be sinking down. Yeah, it is. I'll give that a minute just to sink down a little bit, then I'll turn the air on to clean the K1. So there you go. I don't know how much you can see down at the bottom there. Okay. So the water level is dropping to the level of that inlet pipe just there, and hopefully you can see just how much muck this vortex is captured. But just about to start to see it there. One thing, another addition I have put in here, that there is a filter bag full of barley straw, and what I do find is it does help to keep the algae down. Certainly now in the next month or two when the water temperature starts to warm up. It's been in there for about 6 months, and I keep it topped up every month or so, because it's not until that ball saw rots that it releases a chemical that it inhibits the algae to grow in the water. Okay, so that's water level down to the inlet pipe, and you could probably just about see the muck and gunge at the bottom there. Can you see it? So it captures a hell of a lot. So the first thing I'm going to do now is clean that out. I'm going to turn the air on to the vortex, just here. There you go. Doing all that good up, and then I'll just open the tap. So we're opening the drain to the vortex. This is the top one, those 3 bulb holes. There you go. Drain it. And that should go to the garden. There you go, and there it is. The Sovereign's set up a proper irrigation system. You can see all that's coming now as that vortex, and just water this part of the garden. Okay. And as you can see, the waterfall has stopped now as I clean the filters. Okay, so although I've drained it, you can still see 1 or 2 little bits at the bottom. So what I do now, I simply just turn the pump on for about 5 seconds and let that blast the remaining debris down the drain that you can see just at the bottom there. You can probably hear it just flushing again. I'm going to turn it off now for about a few seconds, so that's enough. So there we are, pump 1 off, and hopefully that's flushed everything out. So there we go, happy days. So the base is all clean, as you can see. 1 or 2 little things just in the bottom there, but it's next to nothing, so I'm happy that's clean. Next thing I'll do, I'm not going to show you all through this now, is clean those sponges there, 2 sponges. Essentially what I do is when I clean the main still bed here, that's bubbling away, I dunk the sponges inside, squeeze them clean and put them back into the vortex. And similarly, you can see a couple of sponges just there in the still bed, and I'll squeeze them clean. And that'll be the cleaning of the filters for this one. The old process, to be frank, takes me about 15 minutes. It's very, very quick. And yes, since I've introduced those sponges, I can't say it's hands-free cleaning, but those little sponges there help to keep my water crystal clear. They really do. It also helps the final part, which is the biological filter, just there, can do its job as efficiently as it possibly can. So there you go. You can see the bottom 2 filters are the quarter 2 filters, and those fit over the vortex outlet pipe, just there. I'll leave round about 1.5 inches of those slots free at the top, just in case if those sponges do get blocked, there's still sufficient space there for the water to go through so it doesn't overfill the barrel. The 2 finer filters go over the outlet pipe on the still beds. And similarly, I leave about 1.5 inches free of the slot at the top, just in case they do get blocked. So it just prevents the barrel from overflowing. So I've got 2 on that, and turn this still bed that you can't see at the minute because the K1 is still covering them a little bit. I'll be cleaning that barrel next week. There you go. I've disturbed the K1 quite a bit now. It's had a good clean, so I'm going to start the draining process. So it's a bottom one of the three. So let's undo this ball valve. I apologise for the camera bobbing all over the place, but I'm trying to hold the camera as I undo everything. There you go. And we should see the barrel anchoring now. There we go. Slowly draining. There's quite a bit of muck in there, as you can see. I have to say some of that is actually bentonite clay. I've probably said everything. The bentonite clay contains sufficient minerals to keep the fish's body happy, i.e. calcium, magnesium, and all the other stuff in there. All the other essential minerals. Don't just rely on food to get fish, their essential minerals. It's simply not enough there. I'll show you the bag of bentonite clay that I use actually. I buy it in bulk, and it comes with that contacts, the dreaded contacts. It's incredibly cheap at the stores in Wrighty. I'll show you that now actually. So there we go, it's there. I think it's around about 25 kilograms, if I remember. It costs, well, I forget now, it's about 35 quid, £36, including delivery, for 25 kilograms. I mean, I don't care if anybody says, oh, that's industrial grade bentonite. It makes the difference. Do you think koi in Japan, do you think their ponds for 1 minute are produced with fine graded marillonite? Please, of course they're not. I've looked at the SDS data sheet on this stuff, and it's 85% bentonite. That's reality. The rest, the other 50% are bits and pieces that, to be quite frank, will not harm your fish. It really won't. There's calcium in that, magnesium, and all sorts of essential minerals. And even then, what I do, if I think, oh, for 1 minute, it's certainly bearing in mind that your filter, the bacterial filter, needs calcium. I bought 25 kilograms of calcium carbonate. Now that costs around about, there you are, 25 kilograms. There you go. And that's calcium carbonate. It's essentially chalk, that's what it is. And the top and bottom of it is, if you want to just put pure calcium in, put that stuff in. It costs around about 30 quid for 25 kilograms. Why spend £20, £15, £20 on a few grams? It doesn't make sense, guys. Buy it in bulk and don't pay the koi tax. I'm saving you money here. Do a little bit of research on the internet, and if you come from the UK, the only thing I'll say, because I can't advertise, is there's a place in Northern Ireland where they'll send it to you. They basically supply minerals, chemicals and all sorts. That's where you get the stuff. And the delivery's cheap. The bentonite, I think, was from the same company, but for one reason or the other, you can't get it through the main website in Northern Ireland. I think that came from Amazon. So there you go. Cheap as. And I've been putting that stuff in there for 2 or 3 years, and it hasn't killed my fish. Period. I've been putting it in all through the winter, and every single one of my fish have survived and come out of it, not just surviving, but looking healthy and thriving and surviving the cold. Buy the stuff, save yourself a shed load of money, and that's one of the biggest tips I'll give you today. Anyway, the water's drained on that still bed, so I'm just going to turn the air tap on, so I need my moving bed to move again. Okay, so the air gets diverted to the moving bed. I should start up again. Right, there we go. There we are. That thing you can see there, that's basically the fractionator. It does work, as you can see. There we go. However, I'm going to make a bigger fractionator this year, and I'll show you how I'm going to do it. I've come up with it. I think it's a great idea, and it should be even more effective than this one. In other words, I'm going to fractionate every bit of water that comes through this system, and I'll show you how I'm going to do it at minimal cost. But that's later in the year, maybe a month, 2 months. I'm not sure yet. But there you go. Those little white deposits there, what you can see is during the winter, because the pond was covered, I was putting the bentonite and the calcium just into this moving bed so when it filters through the pond, and those are just the remnants, as you can see. But, there we go. Trying to harden up a bit. Okay, yeah, so that's just the bentonite and the calcium. Right. What I'm going to do now is to turn the pump back on, and then once all those barrels are filled up with water, and then and only then do I refit the sponges just around the top of the pipes. So there you go. I've fitted the sock again, I've cleaned it out, fitted the sock. Let's turn the pump on. Yeah, so there are the bubbles coming out. And there you go. The water's coming through quite clean there. And that's it. So hopefully now, when that reaches the top, it'll feed the first still bed, but further then feeds the second still bed. Simple as. So there you see, I've just fitted the sponges. There we go. That should be enough now. Normally I adjust it so the sponge is slightly above the water level. I've guessed around about right there. There we are. As you can see, there's a gap at the top, so if those filters do get blocked, they do towards the end of the week, the water just runs over the top until it stops anyway. There we are. So all I've got to do now is put the other filters, the other sponges, onto this still bed. So there it is, there's water level rising on the second still bed, and I've fitted the sponges there, and that helps to take even more fines out. So by the time it gets to the biological filter, that's as clean as it can get it. There we go. And what you'll find is that the K1 will start to climb just above the sponge, and I have to say even the K1 is superb at taking out fines. So it really is a good system, and to kill any algae at all off, obviously I've got the TMC Pro Clear Ultimate 30 then there, the UV light. So there we go, you can see just the K1 starting to climb now, and there we go. I had a problem with this particular barrel last year when it overflowed because I had a sock on the top, a glove, to stop the K1 going down it, and it blocks, so I've taken it off this one. I don't want that to happen again. I prefer the K1 to go down there and block the filter. I haven't had a problem since. So there we go, that's me cleaning the filters. And that's it, job done. And finally, I'll just show you the saturation. There we go, can you see all the bubbles? Some on the outside there, look. But the saturator does a great job there, it's bubbling up. Through that pipe. And it'll take about another 5 minutes now before that kicks in again. As you can see, it does a great job. But I'm going to modify that, like I said earlier, and make a huge fractionator, and it won't cost that much more money. And I'll show you how I'm going to do this in a month or two. So, and that's cleaning Wrighty's filter. Back to the garden. And there are the fish. Happy house. Last year, I think I remember telling you, I introduced a butterfly koi. There you are, can you see him in the middle? My main concern when I first bought him was his fins, if he developed fin rots, certainly over the winter, and no, he looks great. People mistake how a butterfly koi fins look shredded at the end, but that's how they are. They're not shredded, that's not rot. It's almost like feathers. Some people dislike butterfly koi, but I think they'll be quite nice. I like them. I think it's a lovely fish anyway. That's my personal point of view. Well, you can't beat it. Saturday morning, even though I've got a bit of a sniffle, a bit of a cough still, and a bacon butty and a cup of coffee. In a lovely garden, hopefully, in about a month when everything buds and flowers, it'll be great. Right, just give me 5 minutes while you have my breakfast. I can have a look at the fish in the meantime. Wish you well's working a treat, so that's it. All I need to do is really just pressure wash it just around the base there, just to clean up the paintwork. Perhaps give it another lick of paint, ready for the spring. So I think that's it for today. I've done a little bit, taken me 4 or 5 hours just to clean things up. Sort the wishing well. That's up and running again. And I'm not sure what's happened to my bonsai. It went indoors, but I kept getting little white flies, so I bought it outside. I wouldn't say it was freezing, but it was at about 2 degrees just to kill the white fly. And now I managed to kill the bloody bonsai. I don't know, it's a Dutch elm. Sorry, not Dutch elm, Chinese elm. So they do lose the leaves. It shouldn't have killed it. Well, it's 2 degrees. It was only 2 degrees for about 3 days. So I don't know. And that's it. So, happy ponding. I'll see you next time.